I'm Mikhu, and clearly I'm sitting in for Haris today again. With me in the studio is Miss Cynthia Gabriel. She's the one who exposed the famous submarine case which involved our then Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister, but the then Defense Minister, Datuk Seri Najib Razak. She was also being exposed to danger at that time, and we had to, activists had to protect her in that period of time. And currently she's the Executive Director of CIFO. Everyone knows CIFO. Okay, Cynthia, can you tell the audience, just in case they don't know what is CIFO?
Thank you, Mick. The CIFO stands for the Center to Combat Corruption and Cronyism. It is a fairly new organization, a non-profit policy advocacy center that has been set up mainly to monitor public spending and to look at how taxpayers' money in Malaysia is being managed, or rather mismanaged. And so we have a lot on our plate, a lot of demand since we've been set up, and many voices of support from ordinary Malaysians to back the call for more accountable governance and more transparency in decision making.
Okay. CIFO has come up with some very good recommendations for the budget of 2015. Can you mention any? Can you tell us what do you think that it's supposed to be there and not supposed to be there?
Okay, Budget 2015 has been a topic of great public interest. I think mainly more so this year than many other years previously, because we do have a very major change coming up, which is a change in our taxation system, the goods and services taxes, which will be implemented on the 1st of April 2015. Now there is a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry about what that may mean. For ordinary Malaysians, we probably know that it would mean 6% of almost every good that we buy from the supermarket or from the provision shops. Well, there are some exemptions, and the exemptions are getting longer, which perhaps is the clearest indication that Malaysia is not quite ready for a consumption-based taxation system. So there has been a lot of comments, opinions, and worry and anxiety over how Malaysia would actually implement the goods and services taxes. Now, it's very different in developed countries, because in developed countries the standard of accountability and transparency in government decision making is very high. But in the case of Malaysia, every time there are questions in relation to accountability, there are threats to arrest you under the Sedition Act for offending the government and insulting the government. But coming back to the topic of Budget 2015, it becomes really imperative for the Malaysian government to really study and do proper impact assessments as to how the lives of ordinary Malaysians, especially those in the lower and middle income brackets, could be affected as a result of the imposition of the GST. If you look at Budget 2015, there are provisions of BRIM to cushion the impact of the GST. But if you look at BRIM, we would personally criticize an approach like BRIM because it does not look at the wage structure, it does not look at how wages can go up incrementally and annually, and it does not look at how Malaysians can actually manage a good, decent standard of living. So handouts and hand-me-downs from the government are certainly not long-term solutions.
Okay, what about, let's say, we know from what you say, they are disadvantages from this 2015 budget, but what can ordinary citizens do? I mean, just talk about it in Kopitiam, or what can we do?
Well, there are many things that can be done, and the most important, which I believe Malaysians are beginning to realize, is that when we speak collectively and when we speak in a sense of collective boldness, the government has to sit up and listen. And if we don't do that, then it becomes very obvious that they will just steamroll their policies over us. So there are very simple things that we have actually proposed in our comments and in our commentary to the media, as well as to the government, is that there's something that many countries actually practice where governments engage with citizens on a very consistent basis, where they engage citizens to track budgets. For example, budgets in relation to local government expenditure, budgets in terms of how state government utilizes its budget on resources like transport, on land use, and also on public services delivery. Now, there is a lot that ordinary residents with professional capabilities can actually contribute. And if you look at Indonesia, we don't actually have to look very far. We don't have to go to Britain or the US. If you look at Indonesia and how it's progressing, you find that Indonesia has adopted something called an open government partnership, where governments work with civil society to help them track budgets, to help them monitor public services delivery, and so on. So there are various opportunities that can be created to get citizens talking and moving from kopitiam dialogues into actual budget monitoring mechanisms and so on. And this is something we have recommended very seriously for the government to take notice, because citizens need especially to have a voice in 2015, more so because the GST is going to be in place, and more so because although the government talks about trying to reduce fiscal deficit, there cannot be any justification for the ordinary citizens like you and me to pay off debts of the government.
Okay, you have heard what Cynthia said. Please log on to C4's website and to contribute. Create a discussion group. Thank you very much for watching Red Times TV. I'm Mei Ku, and we'll see you